Hunger Free Community Quarterly. Welcome to our September Hunger Free Community Quarterly meeting. Thanks for joining us. I think we're going to give folks another minute or so. Aaliyah, do you want to review the agenda while we're waiting for more folks to come in?
I just put our agenda in the chat, but we definitely want to do some introductions. We have 3 presentations today, which is very exciting. Thank you to all of our presenters. And we'll have a policy update from Karen. We'll have 2 partner presentations from the Ujima Hunger Coalition and Baylor University. We'll give you guys some brief alliance updates and then we'll close. So a busy hour, but excited to see you all. I'm going to admit.
So if possible, because we have lots of new folks with us, if you can add your coalition name to or your organization name to your video box, that would be fantastic.
And we can go ahead and get started with intros. If you want to kick us off, Minerva, leave that to everybody.
Sure. Hey, everybody. I think I know almost all of you. Minerva Delgado, Director of Coalitions and Advocacy at the Alliance to End Hunger. So thrilled to see this network growing and some new folks, and looking forward to meeting you, as well as some good friends that we've had for a while. So I'll pass it off also to Karen from the Alliance staff to introduce herself next.
Hello, everyone. I'm Karen Ahrens. I'm the U.S. Policy Manager with the Alliance, and as of today, I've been here officially for 1 year. I'm happy to be here with you and learn more about what you all are doing in the States. As some of you know, I also did work in the States for the majority of my career in the state of North Dakota, so I have a special feeling for and appreciation for the work that you're doing in states and communities. Thank you.
And good to see everybody. My name's Aaliyah. I'm the Hunger Free Communities Associate. And it's great to see you all. With that, we definitely want to give some time to let you all introduce yourselves. So I can just call on folks that I see based on my screen. So Brian, will you start us off?
Yep. Hi, guys. I'm Brian Weir. I'm the Executive Director of the Ujima Hunger Coalition, and I'll be speaking to you guys here in a little bit.
Thank you. And Jonathan, good to see you.
Hey everyone, Jonathan Hansen. I'm the Chief Strategy Officer with Hunger Task Force here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
And Katie.
Good afternoon. I'm Katie Nye. Today I'm in Washington, but normally in Austin, Texas with the Baylor Collaborative.
And Luke, good to see you.
Luke Elzinga. I'm the Policy and Advocacy Manager at the DMARC Food Pantry Network in Des Moines, Iowa, and serve on the board of the Iowa Hunger Coalition.
And Erica.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Executive Director of Hunger Free Kansas.
Amazing. And Harumi, I think I said that your name right.
Hi, everyone. I'm Harumi, and I'm a food security coordinator for the city of Alexandria, and also on the board of Hunger Free Alexandria.
And Layla.
Hi, everyone. My name is Layla. I'm with Montco Anti-Hunger Network. I'm new to this. You might be familiar with my predecessor, Jillian, and I am representing Montgomery County, Pennsylvania.
Thanks for joining us. And Rachel.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Rachel Moeller, just joined the Ujima Hunger Coalition team as a registered dietitian. Look forward to working with you all.
Congratulations. And Tamara?
This is Tamara Zivik. I'm the CEO of Wheat out in Arizona.
We will be there soon. Dawn, good to see you, Dawn.
Dawn Pierce. I am on the Alliance to End Hunger Advisory Council, and I also work for Hunger Free America.
Thank you. Barbara?
Hello, everyone. I'm Barbara Yoder. I'm in Johnson County, Texas. We have a hunger coalition, about 20 plus pantries and mobiles that we network with.
Thanks for joining. And Cheryl?
Hi, I'm Cheryl Austin. I'm an extension agent with Prairie View A&M, and I'm also help facilitate Bell County Hunger Coalition in Central Texas.
Good to see you again. Kadian? I think that's your name, right?
Yes. Hi, everyone. First time here. I work with the organization by the name of Philippine. I'm the outreach and enrollment manager. Yeah, that's it.
Thanks for joining us. And Jill, we were just giving intros. I know you just joined, but if you want to introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. Sorry I'm late. I'm Jill Panicelli from Save the Children. I'm the Senior Advisor of Food Security, and we have been supporting Hunger-Free Communities pilots and really excited to join and learn from you all.
Thanks for joining. So I'm going to pass it over to Brian. I'm going to pull up your presentation. 1 second. I'm just going to... 1 second. Okay, here we go. Okay, here we are. Can everyone see?
Yay.
Okay, perfect. Passing it to you, Brian.
Thank you. Thank you for doing that. As I said earlier, technology can be not my friend sometimes, but I am the executive director of the Ujima Hunger Coalition, and we're a relatively newly found nonprofit. The next slide tells you a little bit about us. We are committed to breaking the cycle of hunger and food insecurity through initiative and community-driven solutions. Now, I'm not going to read all my slides to you, but this is what we do. I've been in this business for quite a long time. We really firmly believe a zip code, shouldn't be a predictor of food insecurity and future chronic disease. Part of my presentation will be about healthcare, some of the work we're doing there. And so everything we do is to try and provide food access to children and families. So if we're providing access to children, we're helping food insecure families, all the way through. Next slide. Our approach, we try to be innovative, community-led, and impact-driven, which some of these things will flesh out here in just a little bit. Innovative. Right now, there are some new things that are happening out there in the world of nutrition. Whether it's rural non-congregate food service for the summer food service program, or the 1115 waiver that's going around in the Medicaid world, for food as medicine. We're working in both of those spaces, but we're working in the communities themselves. Part of this presentation a little bit later will show you how we impacted 2 communities, them lead their community for the giant impact at the end of last summer. Next slide. We do out of school meal programs is kind of way I'll frame that. I have history as a food service director inside school district, K-12. So I think the K-12 school districts, where the kids are during the day, do a fine job. But in the summertime, when school's closed, that's when organizations like mine step in and try to provide food access. After school, when school's over, say at 3 p.m., there's that window sometimes between 3 and 5, 3 and 6, where there's aftercare, things going on at school where let's provide another meal, but let's maybe not provide the same meal we provided at lunch. We do something a little bit different. We always work in partnerships with everyone we work with. And I will even work with folks that are already sponsors or might want to become sponsors of these programs to help them get across that threshold, because sometimes becoming a sponsor in the first place is the most difficult part of the work, getting through all the administrative things and hoops that you must jump through and balls you must juggle. And healthcare is our newest endeavor, partnering with an SCN, which is a social care network. And we're working in New York State currently exclusively, because that's where our first contract was offered to us to come in. There are 8 social care networks in New York, for example, each one has a cohort of counties. So we're hoping to move through all those within the next year. There are other states that are now starting to adopt what's called the 1115 waiver for food as medicine and medically tailored meals, clinically appropriate meals, food boxes, food vouchers. So it's just the time it takes to go through all the operational and administrative things to get your program going. But we are across that. We are going, and we're working right now in healthcare, which is fantastic. We're reaching a whole new population, whole new demographic. Next slide. This is just an infographic of anyone who works in our space knows what the problem is. We say our problem that we're trying to solve for is childhood hunger. Right now, we're almost exclusively working in rural America, and that was on purpose. I've spent a lot of time working in urban America, and rural America was always just kind of left out. It was very hard to move food, very hard to get food access in rural America, especially with something I'm very, very familiar with, which is the summer food service program that steps in when school ends to provide meals in the summertime. If you live in a far away from town, so to speak, and you're required, and there's a program, and then you're required to come to the program to eat lunch every day at the program site, and you can't take the food home with you. So sometimes that's difficult. Transportation is a giant barrier. If you're driving 10, 15 miles to come into town for lunch every day. So now we flip that script, and we're with USDA, the new legislation, and we're providing access to these families once a week in a food box where they come pick up for each one of their children that has 7 breakfast in the box, 7 lunch in the box, and 14 shelf-stable milk in the box. So now, once you register, you only have to come in once and pick it up and take it home. So that's how, the next slide. That was our solution. Breaking that cycle is trying to find flexible meal access through home delivered models and parent pickup models. Home delivery for these programs is slowly coming online. Some states are adopting it and others, frankly aren't, or they're just kind of waiting to see what happens. But a lot of the pickups are really happening, and we focus on nutrition. We try to exceed the standards wherever possible. Local empowerment. I partnered with 2 small cities, 2 small towns in central Illinois this summer that didn't have any access to this program ever. They just didn't do the program, and this summer they wanted to try it. I trained them, I helped them work through it. They were my operation on the ground, while I was the administration behind the curtain, so to speak. Next slide. And this was our impact this summer with these 2 small communities. We served nearly 100,000 meals in 7 weeks. This could have been a 10-week program, but it was our first sponsorship in Illinois, and it just took a little longer than everybody anticipated getting the sponsorship across the finish line of approval. It just took time. Woodford County, Illinois, which is near Peoria, if you've ever heard that, they attempted a congregate meal site last summer and served, which means the kids had to come. They served 40 total meals for the whole summer. This summer, we served over 20,000. The other place, Livingston County, was actually at the health department itself. Livingston County Department of Public Health was the location for our parent pickup drive-through, and they served just under 80,000 meals. It was just incredible. And to round this out, I have a quick video that I'd like to show you guys. And we had the same problem before, Leah. We don't have sound that I can hear.
I can't hear the sound either.
Well, if nothing else, we can put the link in the chat and you can go watch it when we're done off my YouTube page. It worked earlier when we tested it.
Sorry about that. I will put the link to the video in the chat.
Yeah, that's, if you go to our website, ujimahunger.org, it's actually on the landing page right now because we're trying to finish the summer with a couple of case studies and show everything that we've done to try to promote this program going forward. I'll go through these pretty quickly because it's specific to one location in New York. SN services are health-related social needs services. We're working with the community Medicaid population with members that have enhanced care services. They've been screened or navigated for enhanced care. We started doing this in August. September 1st, we started providing 3 different solutions: a fresh fruit and vegetable and pantry stable box that gets shipped to their house, a digitally appropriate food voucher, which is a kind of like a gift card. We send a gift card to the eligible member every single week that has $100 on it, and they can go to the grocery store and purchase anything they want within the guidelines. Think SNAP, very similar to the guidelines of that. And this does not replace any other food program. This is enhancing on top of any other food program someone may be eligible to. And then hopefully in November, we'll be starting to do actually medically tailored versus just nutritionally appropriate. Those are the 5 counties that we're currently working in. Next slide. This is just how a food voucher looks. You get an email, the member clicks on the link, they go to the grocery store, they use it just like a gift card. Next slide. This is a sample of what one of our food boxes look like. 9-ish pounds of vegetables, 5-ish pounds of fruit, and 2 pounds of protein. And we do have some pantry staples in there as well. And this changes. This changes weekly, changes based upon availability, but it comes to the front door every week. Next slide, please. And again, a little bit more about how the food voucher works. So we don't really need to go into that. I want to keep time here so I can let other people speak. Our clinically appropriate meals are up to 21 meals in a box, breakfast, lunch, dinner. Our meals are always fresh, never frozen. They're delivered with a 5 to 7 day shelf life, and they're actually prepared by folks like this. Actually, these folks themselves, real professional chefs, many people you may have heard of or seen on TV, which is fantastic. Next slide. And that's just a little bit more about that, how they're the medically tailored will be actually tailored for diverse conditions. Clinically appropriate is just a little bit easier. It's a little bit more flexible. You can deal more with cuisine type than disease state, if you will. Next. And that's a little bit about the research that went behind medically tailored meals and crafted by chefs. It's been proven. The Cleveland Clinic's behind it, Mayo Clinic's behind it. It really seems to be the next great thing. And that's it. My next slide is just my contact info. I went through a whole bunch super duper fast. So if anyone wants to reach out to me and have a conversation about any of that or how that might look in your area, please feel free to reach out. I'm more than happy to talk to you about any of this.
Well, thank you so much, Brian. We do have time for if anyone has any questions, which there might be some in the chat. But before we move on, does anyone have any questions? Oh, this is a good one. What does UJIMA mean?
It stands for Collective Work and Responsibility.
I have a question, and thank you. Great presentation. Great to hear all the work you're doing, Brian. Can you explain a little bit? It sounded like all of those 100,000 meals were through the food box program, right? So was it that the rural non-congregate option, you had said it wasn't really being utilized yet in that area, or was it a combination of both of those programs?
It was not utilized in either area ever before.
Okay.
But both areas were determined to provide food access. And the one area tried to do a traditional SFSP congregate site at their food pantry, and 40 lunches were served the entire summer.
Yeah.
The other one, being a government organization, the health department, they just couldn't figure out how to do it. How would we do where kids and families would come here and eat lunch? It didn't make sense. But there was a closed enrolled site near them from the Boys and Girls Clubs, but that's closed enrolled. That's only those kids in that club that day. So
Right.
that county of Livingston County had no public food access in the summertime. So when they found out about us and rural and congregate, we had this aha moment of, you want to be on the ground? I can do all the administration. You have a big giant parking lot. You've got volunteers. So it all came together.
Wonderful.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Brian.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Minerva, did you want to say a few words?
Yeah, so yes, and thank you, Brian. That was really interesting, and I'm looking forward to getting those slides as well, which I know we're going to share afterwards and seeing the video. Um, so next, we're going to have Katie do a presentation about a new initiative at Baylor that we're all very excited about. And, I just want to say, first of all, Baylor has been a thought leader with us in the Hunger Free Community movement, basically since the beginning. I remember in 2018, we co-branded a toolkit that you all developed, and we've been using that toolkit for years and referring folks to the toolkit and to Baylor to be, technical assistance partners. So we're just really thrilled about the new iteration, which Ali and I have both seen a preview of and been part of, sort of just giving some feedback on it. So definitely want to welcome Katie. I really thank Baylor for the work that they're doing to uplift the Hunger Free Communities concept and model and help really you know, build up the standards around what it means to be a hunger-free community, as well as all the support of the groups that they're doing in Texas and beyond. So just a really warm welcome to you, Katie, and really looking forward to the presentation.
Thank you, Minerva. And it looks like I can share my screen. Yes. Okay, great. Let me take care of that. And while I'm sharing my screen, I'll say thank you, Minerva. We are honestly so inspired by you all, and I've learned so much from you and what the Alliance has done. So I appreciate you sharing that. All right, so we are really excited. We just launched last week on September 9th our new and improved and official course, which is our Hunger Free Communities Certificate course. I'm going to play this so that you can actually see this full screen. Can you see that a little bit better? Excellent.
Great.
Thank you. So just a reminder about the Baylor Collaborative. We've been around for over 15 years. Our mission is cultivating scalable solutions to end hunger. And we do that through research, policy, and practice. So the practice side is this new certificate course and program, which is really intended because everything's bigger in Texas, and we have 254 counties with a goal of reaching all of them with our expertise and knowledge about hunger-free communities, how they can become one, and how to use our best resources to create innovative interventions and end hunger, including exactly what Brian was talking about, our federal nutrition programs and these USDA funded programs. So our team has used all of our years of research, policy practice, our partnerships to cultivate this program. So our core assumption is that no one sector can end hunger alone. If they could, we would have solved hunger by now. So our HFCCs is that collective response. So like I said, we've been training them for over 15 years. This is a group of folks that are working together to end hunger. And we want to do this by training them and using the principles of shared power and collective impact. So the course takes them through a 10-week online course. It's now open for enrollment. I'll have the registration link at the end of this. I will also put in the chat, if I can figure that out in a moment, I'll put the link to our website where you can read all about it. There's also a lot more information there about some of the other courses that Baylor offers in the hunger space. But again, this is an online self-paced tool, and it's designed to be used by either an individual or an entire group that wants to start a coalition. So the goal of this is really to train and equip community leaders to be starting their own hunger-free community initiatives. And again, It's because we noticed that we can't spend a year working with two counties when we've got 254, especially in a state that has high rurality, which Brian was just talking about, states where, we need a group to come together from multiple counties. We have the Texas Panhandle where the joke is there's more cows than people. So we really had to focus on how can we get this information out to as many folks as possible. So the course guides participants through what we call 5 phases of creating and then sustaining a hunger-free coalition. At the end of the course, you haven't built your coalition yet. That would be amazing, but we're not there quite yet. Essentially, though, you have that same common language and an entire handbook and toolkit that guides you through all of the activities you'd need to do to start and sustain your coalition. So we take them through everything. There are 8 modules in the course, starting with establishing your shared vision, creating a strategic plan, and then implementing the goals in that plan. So once they finish the course, a participant receives both a certificate of completion from us and a digital badge that can be displayed like a credential on resumes. The course modules are online and self-paced again, so people who can take the course, they can either sit together, take it all at once, they can take it individually and then meet and review, or they can, really self-pace and continue to meet as they traditionally do as a group or cohort. So from Jeremy, our founder's own mouth, he says this course is really intended to be more than just educational. It is the call to action that we have for all of our folks across Texas and across the country. If you come together and work as a collaborative team, you can create those local sustainable solutions that, end food insecurity and honor all of the people in your community. So again, that's really our goal. We can't be everywhere at once. So when we train our communities to, use their shared power and create local solutions, we know that we can end hunger. A little bit more about the course. It's 8 modules, like I said, or 8 chapters. So the course will come with our handbook and workbook, which has, again, it's a workbook that you would really go through with all of the practical tools with examples of everything and how to do the activities, how long they take. And it takes about 10 weeks. Through that, you'll learn all of the fundamentals of this, and then you receive that digital badge. And 10 weeks is a suggested time. There's no end limit to the course. So once you start, you are at your own pace to complete all 8 of those chapters and modules. So through the course, you work through the 5 critical phases to create and sustain a coalition. So again, uniting all of your stakeholders to make that common vision or shared goal. You create what we call a landscape analysis, which is the way to understand that unique community's needs. We heard from so many people that they don't feel like they're the experts and they need the data, and they're worried that they don't have the right information and knowledge and what they need to move forward with creating strategies. So having a landscape analysis where you have the data in front of you. We use our Hunger Data Lab team and the data and resources available from so many national partners to help you really pinpoint where hunger is and who's hungry in your community. And then convening those local leaders together for action. When you see the mayor sitting next to the food bank director and the child nutrition director, those conversations really start to help shape changes that can be made in the community. And then a multi-sectoral plan, creating real successful measures and steps that you can take to improve the programs and services in your community together. And then using those implemented evidence-based interventions. And, Brian just talked about one, for example. So, how can we make sure that we're sharing great information, great activities and resources? We have a couple of folks on the call who use some of the programs that we run and operate that, are really intended to be repeated and that anyone can take on and do in their own communities to help end hunger. And again, it's those 5 phases. And, it's an iterative process. Once you've gotten through implementing the plan, you need to review your plan, look where you are every year, see what needs to be improved or changed. And you continue through this cycle of making sure you have all of your resources and needs comparing them, making sure you've got the right players at the table, creating that plan, executing the plan, and evaluating it and sharing that information. So the course modules, if you want a preview, and there's a preview of the digital badge as well, which I now share in my signature and on my LinkedIn page and Facebook and anywhere I can see, so that we have folks able to see that this is a credential you can get through Baylor. Is again, understanding food insecurity all the way to crafting and implementing your plan. We also have scholarships available. The cost of the course is $3,000 per person. If you go to our website, which like I said, I will share after this, we'll consistently have a scholarship form that folks can fill out. They can be part of that scholarship cohort. And if you have any more questions or want more information about that, let us know. Again, it is a self-paced. We suggest 10 weeks, but you can take as long as you need. And like I said, we're actively looking, but it is awarded on a first come, first served basis. So there may be times when we don't have that assistance available. We also have an opportunity for a cohort to be funded through one of our foundations in our network. And so if you are interested and just want to reach out to see if any of those foundations are in a county or in a location where you are, please feel free to. I'm always happy to answer any questions that folks have about the course. So here's the enrollment page. You can scan this QR code. It should take you right to the enrollment page. But again, if you have a ton of questions about any of the information shared or the scholarship itself, you can email us at collaborative@baylor.edu or myself. I'm about to share that in the chat so that you all be able to see both our website where this registration information is and my email. But if you have any questions now too, please feel free to ask.
Thanks, Katie. I know a few of us on the call have been through the course, maybe. Aaliyah and I have both been through it, and it really is rich in terms of resources and tools. And I would encourage any group that is, in particular, thinking about how to strengthen their hunger-free community initiative or create a strategic plan to go through the certificate course. I think it's very worthwhile.
Thank you. Yeah, we're having folks go through it right now, so hopefully we'll have some more testimonials as we go along. But it really was a labor of love. Our whole team looked at it. Our partners looked at it. So thank you to you, Minerva, and your team for also reviewing and supporting us as we created this.
Any questions for Katie or comments?
I'll be sure to share the link out in my follow-up email with your email and also your slides. So thank you so much.
Of course, thank you.
Okay. Shifting gears. We have a policy update from Karen. Let me get your slides up. Okay, here we go. Okay. Can everyone see?
I don't, there they are. All right. Hi, everyone. Let's see. I thank our partners for sharing those uplifting stories. I'm trying not to be the doom and gloom person. Unfortunately, let's see. I'm trying to reframe this, but um, let's see. What I have to share is not always going the way that we want it to. But I know because we're here together and at the Alliance, we bring groups together of all kinds that as folks said earlier, we can't end hunger all by ourselves, which is why we're here today. Why I'm glad to be with you. And so I have a little challenge at the end to help us think to what's next. So next slide. Hopefully, you have all received at some point a link to our document that summarizes the impacts of that big bill. And when you get my slide handout, if you haven't seen it yet, and many of you are following closely what's happening in your states too and already taking action. So I'm not going to read through everything, but sometimes when you hear something or read something that's presented by someone different or in a different way, it might help you think about it differently or understand it. So I'm going to just quickly go through some highlights of that big bill. Next slide. Just kind of summarizing some high points here overall about the foundational changes to the SNAP program. Again, to remind people that, so we get focused, we get burrowing into what we're doing, and so sometimes we forget that we're all here because SNAP helps people who most need it. That 4 out of 5 households that participate in SNAP have either a child, a senior, or a person with disabilities. So that the purpose of this bill is to shift funding from our federal spending and shift it over to state funding. And so the Congressional Research Service, the nonpartisan research arm of Congress, itself said that this bill is going to take away $187 billion over the next 8 years or so out of SNAP. That it's projecting that 4 million people in a typical month will lose some or all of their SNAP food benefits. And then the Feeding America Network estimating that up to 6 billion meals a year may be lost. Someone mentioned earlier that it takes away all funding for SNAP Ed and that it most impacts the people in our country with the lowest incomes and provides benefits to those with the highest incomes. Next slide. And I'm starting to highlight some of the things that are already moving from the law stage down to the USDA guidance stage out to states. So when you see what's in blue, that means that USDA has started to issue guidance to states, meaning that states now will start to implement what Congress passed through the act. So the expanded work requirements, increasing the age at which people have to complete that extra paperwork to adults up to 65. And while previously there had been an exemption for veterans, people who are homeless, and that people who were
Foster care
formerly
youth.
yes, foster care youth. Sorry about that typo there. I'll fix that before it goes out. Are no longer exempt from completing those paperwork requirements. So the changes about eligibility for SNAP are starting to go into effect, no longer being able to include internet expenses in utility calculations, or LIHEAP is only for households that have the fuel assistant, no longer making people automatically eligible unless the households include an older adult or disabled person. So we're taking away ability to participate in SNAP to people who have come to our country to escape dangerous situations, including refugees, people seeking asylum, and trafficking survivors. In the the additional guidance isn't out on that yet. Next slide. But we're starting to respond and push back on that. And many of you have probably heard about a new act that is being introduced by Senator Ben Ray Lujan and Representative Jahana Hayes in the Senate and House, respectively, the Restoring Food Security for American Families and Farmers Act, to try and roll back those provisions impacting SNAP in that big bill. There is a sign-on letter that's open to state, local, and national organizations, and they have a deadline of signing on by the end of the day tomorrow. So if your organization is interested in signing on, please do so quickly. They expect the public release of that bill to come out maybe the first week in August, but that could change. And yes, thank you, Minerva. The Alliance did sign on to that. As the Alliance, we're embarking on now through the end of the year an effort to help remind people and keep SNAP elevated in the news by reminding people how and why SNAP matters. So please continue to tell people in your state, continue to tell lawmakers why SNAP matters, who it helps, why it's important, what might happen if, as these provisions roll out, who will be impacted by how much. Please continue to speak out about that and continue to learn how your state will be impacted. Again, states with higher error rates will be asked to pay more of the SNAP food portion. There's an increase in the administrative portion of SNAP. States now being expected, not right away, but down the road a little bit, to cover more of those administrative costs. And then this is compounded by the additional requirements for Medicaid. So you're probably already hearing conversations in your state about how this is impacting the budget process, how they're going to meet those priorities, and hopefully not that your state would have to consider dropping SNAP. At a hearing last week in the House Agriculture Committee, the pointed question was asked by some legislators: if a state is unable to meet all of those financial requirements, can they still stay and offer SNAP? And the pointed answer to that was no, they will not be able to. So it is like, if you can imagine living in a state where there is no longer a SNAP program, especially for children, elders, people with disabilities, we're working to help stop that from happening. And then there at the bottom, if your state has started to send out that guidance, if you're able to help get the word out to people who may be applying for SNAP or who are participating in SNAP, that there are some changes that may take place when they apply or when they recertify. So help get the word out so that we can keep as many people who are eligible taking part in the program as possible in your state. And there at the very bottom is a link to the USDA guidance that's starting to roll out. Next slide. The other thing that is happening right now is we're in September. We're more than halfway through September, meaning there are only a few short days left in the federal fiscal year. And Congress, in regular order, would have already approved a budget, appropriation spending for the next year, fiscal year that starts October 1st. But here we find ourselves again in a Congress that's deeply divided, and that members on both sides are using these must-pass bill opportunities like appropriations to kind of hold hostage or try and get their priorities passed um, by attaching things to these bills. We have just heard today that language in the House, the U.S. House of Representatives, has come out for a short-term continuing resolution that would extend funding of the government for 7 weeks until November 21st. And already the two parties have taken their sides, unfortunately. So that is happening today. I have just briefly looked at it, and I'll send also a link out to that bill, which they say could be voted on in the House by the end of the week. So there could be a combination of continuing resolution with passage of bills that have already cleared appropriations, and the agriculture appropriations bills have passed. So that is one of the fully made it through the process appropriations bills that they might try to move past the full Congress. And again, we're staring into the eyes of potential government shutdown on or about September 30th. And organizations like your state WIC offices and others are trying to make contingency plans for what will happen if the government does in fact shut down for a period beginning October 1st, which is just nobody wins when the government is shut down, and it causes us to spend extra time planning and preparing for scenarios that shouldn't happen if Congress was doing its job, right? And the other issue that's coming up is that through the clawing back of monies that have been approved by Congress, Congress has voted, but then the president or the Congress, through passing bills that say they're able to do it through rescissions, the clawing back and taking back of funding that's been approved is also lurking out there. And so members of Congress are questioning, why are we voting to pass these bills if the party that has the majority is going to turn around and pull money back after they've voted to approve it? So this is all making things very complicated and uncertain. And it kind of makes you feel bearish and growly at times. But we'll keep connected through communicating with one another, and keep reaching out to your members of Congress to let them know that you'd appreciate if they would do their job and pass a budget. Next slide. Alliance appropriations priorities include understanding that when something is just extended at the level that it is for a period of time, it's like a cut because inflation is out there, right? Our appropriations priorities include full funding for WIC. In that CR language that was released in the House today, it does specifically mention WIC funding, so that's good news. And we also have priorities that include maintaining that fruit and vegetable benefit. We're joining our Alliance members who are asking for full funding for the commodity nutrition programs like TFAP and Commodity Supplemental, and funding that meets the needs of seniors participating in the older adult nutrition programs, those home delivered and community meals. Next slide. Other Alliance priorities that we're working on during these weeks and months, including trying to encourage the USDA to make SNAP Online permanent. It's, believe it or not, even though it's been around for at least 6 years, still in a pilot official designation, and working with our business partners to include improvements and changes in the way that USDA is operating that. And then we also have efforts to, again, the Modern WIC Act was reintroduced in the House and looking for a second primary sponsor in the Senate to make permanent again some online changes and that allow people to participate more fully in WIC without a lot of extra visits to WIC offices. Next slide. On the administration side, we have lots going on there too. Last week, a Make Our Children Healthy Again strategy from the MAHA Commission was announced. Unfortunately, there was not any real wording in that talked about in order for children to be healthy, they have to be able to access food. So that was missing, and our Alliance President Eric Mitchell released a statement to that effect. So we are attempting to get that message out to the administration that has to be part of this whole discussion. There was in that MAHA strategy announcement the changes that they wish to continue to do to SNAP to limit what SNAP can be used for purchasing foods. And the Alliance believes that people who participate in SNAP should have the choice to make the purchases that they believe are best for their families, their cultural background, and likes. USDA is encouraging states to apply for SNAP waivers for those state level SNAP restrictions. And in fact, in the last week, the Department of Health and Human Services has included language that provides points to grant applications that states that do have SNAP waivers get points in their grant applications if they have these waivers requested or they're working through their state legislatures to do those. And then coming in the next year, we've read that they plan to, USDA plans to make SNAP food restrictions permanent at the national level by changing the definition of eligible foods through the regulatory process. So asking for public comment or making a proposal to change the language in the regulations, asking for public comment and going through that process. So we will let you know if and when there is movement on that. Next slide. With the Farm Bill, quickly, it was scheduled to be re-upped in 2023, and it still hasn't been. Next slide. So Representative G.T. Thompson, who chairs the House Committee on Agriculture, has said he still would like to see a Farm Bill brought forward, but it needs to get time on the floor of the House, which the Speaker so far has not really indicated that he is willing or able to give. The trust in the long-standing alliance between agricultural interests, the people who grow the food, and the eaters, usually the states, the urban dwellers, often the food security advocates like us, that alliance has been broken because there was so much put into that big bill without real discussion or hearings held ahead of time. So the progress on a farm bill is uncertain. Next slide. Again, just to encourage people to share far and wide why and how SNAP matters. So many positive outcomes over the years that have been studied and shown by SNAP participation. Next slide. So let your voices ring out that SNAP matters. And I think there's one more slide. So some of you know that our Alliance President Eric Mitchell did work in the office of the late Congressman John Lewis, and he always talked about and had throughout the course of his life and his action work toward the beloved community. And so one of the things that he encouraged people who were working on this goal to do is to live as if what you want to happen has already come about. So I encourage you to think a moment about, and maybe you already are you living, are you working as if everyone has enough to eat? If you are, you can share it in the chat box. If you haven't really thought that way yet, maybe take a few moments over the next few days to think about that. We're almost at the end of our time, but open to questions. You can email them to me or ask them now.
Thanks, Karen. Any questions for Karen? I just have one or two announcements before we wrap, but I think we have time for one question or comment.
I have one real quick one if I could
Please.
jump in. This is really to anyone in the group, but Karen, thank you for sharing those updates. And we're particularly interested in timing as far as work requirements. We've heard the same here in Wisconsin that our state Department of Health Services expects to hear something from USDA before end of month. And they have in turn said that by the time we'd be able to implement whatever the plan is, it's likely to be early February, March of 2026. So just curious if anyone has heard any different timelines or different perspectives from other states that might be represented here on the call. And if not, that's okay too.
Okay. Seems that that's the best information you have, Jonathan. So, but we'll definitely keep you posted. So just before we wrap, thank you, Karen, and thank you to all of our presenters. Just two quick announcements. Hopefully, for those of you who are in the western region of the state or the southwestern region of the state, you already know about our October 10th meeting in Arizona. So we're looking forward to convening our western and southwestern partners. We're really excited about the program we've put together. And if you need more information about that, please reach out. And we look forward, for those of you who are in the western region, to seeing you there. And the other thing is our Hunger Free Communities Summit will be on November 14th this year. The registration is open. We're getting ready to send around a new invitation with our keynote speaker, Congresswoman Shontel Brown from Ohio. So we're very excited about that. And the program is really coming together. So we would encourage you all to register and look forward to that updated invitation soon. And hopefully you'll share that widely with all of your partners. Aaliyah, before we wrap, anything else you wanted to mention?
No, thank you so much to our presenters. I will send their slides in my follow-up email. I think there is a question from Luke in the chat for Karen, if you have a second.
It was just more confusion. It was not a real question.
Is it 120 days from July 4th? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't.
I
Yeah,
think
it's
confusion
super
is
unclear.
a common feeling, if that helps. We are also confused in Texas, so it's not just y'all.
Okay. Thanks. We'll keep an eye on that and provide guidance where we can. Appreciate everyone. Thank you and have a
Thank
wonderful
you
day.
all. Good to see you. Thank you, Karen.
Yep, thank you.
Okay. See you all.